it would have made more sense, just as much sense, and it would at least been braver if it would have been him and Taylor Kitsch butt fucking. Can you imagine? I would have been like, okay, all right, fair enough. Just like, can you imagine if we would have gotten a fucking 5-minute steamy fucking love scene of just them two fucking mustache rides and shit, and it was Rachel McAdams getting shot? This show would be fucking amazing.
Nobody would have saw that coming.
Especially Colin Farrell.
A minute in, okay. So we're good.
All right, welcome back to The Horror with Mike.
And Nate.
This is going to be our first True Detective review with video. Woo!
Go listen to them. Actually, you should probably listen to them before you watch the show.
Yeah.
It'll help manage your expectations.
Yep. Okay, so we're going into episode 7. Episode 7 of 8. This is very pivotal. This is the penultimate.
The penultimate episode.
Fucking episode.
And coming off of the easily, hands down, the best episode they've done all season. Episode 6 was the first time the show really came alive for me.
Oh, yeah.
I had pretty high expectations going into this.
This was the first time that I was, like, sitting there waiting for it. So I was just sitting there. I was like, come on, time to go. Boom. Okay, we're in it. And I watched it twice. Which, depending on how you look at it, might be a good or a bad thing.
Yeah.
One little bit of trivia real quick. Colin Farrell was just cast in the new Harry Potter movie.
Yeah, I heard about that.
That's pretty badass. Because one, that is a huge franchise. Two, people and their casting people.
Yeah, I love the Harry Potter movies. So
it just goes to show that the best people in the industry, in the world, are realizing how good fucking Colin Farrell is in this show. It would be awesome if he played a villain.
Yeah. That would be phenomenal. I'd love to see him.
But I would take him as a good guy because I like
scenery.
Yeah, I like him.
He can do it all. I'm convinced at this point.
Yeah, why doesn't he though?
I don't know. Bad agent.
Why don't you go ahead and kick us off with the episode?
All right, so we pick up immediately after last week's episode. Right. They've the heroes have gone to a hotel where they proceed to start connecting dots. Now that they've got some paperwork, they have more names. The case that started as the murder of Ben Casper has evolved into finally something that is interesting. Conspiracy, this vast conspiracy of police and political figures and underworld figures, all involving this land deal. And they spend a fair amount of time connecting dots and naming names. I see why you watched it twice, because throughout the previous 5, 6 mostly boring episodes, they've introduced all of these characters and given them all names, but they didn't do it in a way that was, to me, interesting enough for me to commit them all to memory. So I liked the scene, I guess, because it had energy and it felt like, they're solving the case. But
right, they're finally getting. But I'm like, really proactive.
Who are they talking about? Oh, it's that guy? Okay, I think I know who that guy is.
Yeah, no, it's very confusing, and that just keeps on going. And I also felt that to a certain degree, the filmmaker behind it, I'm not quite sure who it was, but just the idea that it was like, they had a fucking file as a prop in the scene. Like, just show us pictures of the fucking people as you mention their name. Very simple. Then, like, keep us on track. That could be a good or a bad thing. If the show ends up being really good and I bother to go back and whatever, I'll respect it for not pointing out everything to the audience.
But then when they say, Barres is involved. Oh, no, not Barres. And
I have no fucking clue,
who's
anybody
Barres?
is. Yeah. Like, they did one thing where I was like, thank you for at least letting me slightly know who they were talking about. Is they were like, Dixon this, Dixon that, blah, blah, blah. And after that headshot, I'm like, okay, they're talking about fucking Kenny the cameraman. Like,
Dan Doherty from
Deadwood. Go back and listen to what they were saying because I have no fucking clue. So minus all that, this is what I would call the, like, final episode of Lost episode. This was written and I think really well executed on an emotional level. Logic-wise, it might make logical sense, but like Lost, it's gotten so convoluted that I don't give a shit. So I just watched it on an emotional level, and it all pretty much checked out.
It seems like every side character, except for their new boss that Colin Farrell finds dead and is set up for her murder, everybody else apparently is involved. Taylor Kitsch's military secret boyfriend, he's part of it.
His whole Black Ops team turns out to be against him, which is pretty freaky. So who is the black dude?
That is the chief of police. So,
motherfucker. Nope.
Visually, I remembered him because there aren't like any black characters this season. Farrell is set up for the murder of his boss. She's the only one that can really back their play, and now she's out of the picture. Rachel McAdams is wanted for homicide for the guy that she knifed.
Right.
They are on the run. Taylor Kitsch, he's the only character that is still a cop and still active. His big scene, his former Black Ops buddies, they work for the chief of police. They lure him to the tunnels under the city, and we get a really intense sequence, I thought.
These tunnels run all the way underneath the city. It's like, oh, come on, why didn't you set that up in like episode 4?
Right.
Like, how cool would it have been to understand all that? And so what they're more than likely going to do is use that as an excuse of how people could be. And, I don't know. They only have one fucking episode to go. Like, how are they going to wrap this shit up? Well, one thing is they got rid of one of the characters. That was actually I found myself being like, oh, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
And it was fucking sad, and I did not expect, even by episode 5, that I would care that Taylor.
I was actively rooting for his death for the early part of the season.
Yeah, I know, right?
And now it comes, and I'm like, buddy.
Almost made it too.
He's, you know what? I buy him as a damaged badass.
Yeah,
I didn't really buy him as a damaged, like, dramatic lead guy when they gave him like meteor
but
scenes.
when he was fucking Batman, in the last 2 episodes,
then Gay Rambo, I like to think of him now.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah,
but yeah, that sequence was really cool, really exciting. Again, why don't you have shit like that earlier in the season? But whatever.
Yeah. Well, if this season had a chance at being great, had they condensed the first 4 episodes down into like the first 1 episode, and then they kicked it into high gear, not in episode 6, but in episode like 2 or 3. Then they would have been onto something. And to answer your question, how they're going to wrap this all up is they're going to wrap it up in a True Detective season 1 way, which is they will solve the murder of Ben Casper, and all this other stuff is just going to go on business as usual. Just like, they ended up finding the guy who killed the girl in episode 1 of True Detective, but then they stumble onto this vast conspiracy of these, sick, twisted snuff film old guys. None of that gets concluded satisfactorily.
Right.
They just solved the initial murder. So I think we're going to see a repeat of that, just like we saw a repeat of an action sequence at the end of episode 4, both seasons.
Right.
We'll see them close the Ben Casper case, and then the interesting parts of the case will not be satisfactorily addressed. My prediction.
Parts. Okay, my predictions on where this is going is that, of course, Colin Farrell, it's getting set up that, they don't resolve the conspiracy issue type things. I can't imagine that they would. Rachel McAdams might die because somebody needs to, and her dad still hasn't been enough of a part in it, so I think he's going to end up being more than what he was. She's probably going to die. Who knows? Who really even cares at this point? Colin Farrell's going to get away because the whole thing is leading up to it's going to be so dangerous in America that he has to leave. And the girl who works at the bar set up we could go move to Mexico or something. Yeah. So he's going to go and live off with her, which is good. I want Colin Farrell to have a, happy ending. I'm fine with that. Is Vince Vaughn is set up in this episode that he's about to fucking scorch the earth.
Yeah.
And I'm excited.
And I actually loved that. I actually loved that.
Cool. That was cool. The one thing about Vince Vaughn in this episode is like his character gets a little bit more interesting. You see where his whole thing is leading, which is a guy, which I think that's kind of the basic point of the whole series is good or bad people trying to be good and not being able to, no matter how much they want to, they can't be good people. And so he's going full on, I'm just going to be the villain here, and starts just killing people and burning shit down. And he asks, like, those gangsters, he's like, I need 2 fast cars and all the firepower you can give me. Yeah. Like, he's going to fuck shit up.
He's going to try and heist $12 million from the gangster that
and he's going to lose because everybody loves a redemption story, but he went past redemption when he shot his buddy, and he sits there. And
he enjoys the death.
Yeah. That pushed him past redemption. So what's going to happen is that him and his wife are going to get away with everything, and it's going to be the guy they pulled his teeth out. Just like Carlito's Way, all these gangster movies where it's the little fish comes back. After you've decimated every enemy, they're going to get on the train. He's going to show up and shoot fucking...
So we can't wrap up this podcast before we talk about the ending. Colin Farrell and Rachel McAdams.
Oh, goddamn. Yeah.
Banging.
Fuck. I was not a supporter of that.
There are a lot of things in this episode that I really liked.
Mm.
I absolutely hated this.
Yep.
They have all the chemistry of like a brother and sister.
Yeah.
And like not a hot brother and sister.
Ugh.
You know, like a gross brother
I seriously
and sister.
just got chills because you're right. It's
Yeah.
like, ugh.
Earlier in the episode, there's what I thought a really nice
right?
really nice moment where she's high on Molly and she comes on to him and he gently rebuffs her because it didn't feel right to him.
No.
And it didn't feel right to us.
And it was a nice line where he's like, you're out of my league anyway.
And then at the end of the episode, they just, let's do it.
Okay.
It felt lazy, it felt forced, and it felt wrong.
No, it was completely wrong and it was bullshit and I really didn't like that. Plus the fact that there's something that I really had a problem with the first time and I had a bigger problem the second. Taylor Kitsch goes to his little meeting, calls Colin Farrell, and says, hey, I'm about to walk into something. I don't think I'm going to walk out of it. And Colin Farrell's like, well, where the fuck are you? And he was like, I'll call you back. And hangs up. Logically, fucking makes no sense for one. And two, it made that part even worse, is that Colin Farrell hears this and says, I'm not going to save your life or give a shit. I'm just going to go fuck our partner.
Yeah.
He said he was going to fucking die. You could find him. You're a fucking detective.
Right. At least be worried.
And they even bring it up twice where she's like, well, what should we do about Woodrow? And he's like, nothing we can do. Literally, he says that. We'll just sit here and wait.
Yeah. You have your idea for Colin Farrell's ending. I'm with you on Vince Vaughn, but because they banged at the end of that episode, I'm thinking with all the daddy issues and the father-son stuff that Colin Farrell has gone through, that she will end up pregnant by him. Now, I'm not advocating this idea. I just think that based on what we've seen so far, I'm anticipating being disappointed at like the coda to the finale where they reveal that he knocked her up.
Yeah,
so just wanted to go on record with that.
They have a chubby, redheaded fucking kid who likes watching Friends all day. Just some highlights for me. Rachel McAdams did a really good job acting-wise other than the ending, where at the beginning she's like, I was waiting my whole life for that, killing that guy, which that was so fucking awesome. When I ran out of the woods and they found me, he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, that was some really cool, creepy shit. And then Taylor Kitsch's wife says to him, he's like, I'm just trying to be a good man. And she says, you're trying wrong, which is, I think, probably the whole theme of the series, which is pretty cool. And then it had a terrible, terrible line. Everything is fucking.
Yeah.
Rachel McAdams in that whore.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
boo.
Fuck you. Vince Vaughn, like I said, the problem I had with him in this episode is that he got serious, and I can take him sometimes, but when he went full on serious, like full on like devil mode, I couldn't take him seriously.
Yeah.
Which is too bad because I was going with it, but when it came down to it and I was supposed to be scared to be in, because they had good lines and he had good imposing, where he's like, you shouldn't have been in the room alone with me and shit. I should have gone, oh, fuck, but I was like, you're in the room with fucking Speaker City guys.
Well,
earmuffs. I'm going to kill this guy.
Overall, with his performance, I think that he wasn't the right guy for these lines, or the lines weren't right for this character. I like his nonverbals a lot throughout the season.
Yeah, he's good.
But then he has to follow it up with Blue Balls of the Heart, or in this episode where he says to his wife, what is it? It's like, the spotlight's on us, kid. And I was just like,
That he says to the one guy, he's like, paychecks have been coming less frequently than my wife's period or something. I was like, dude, go fucking on back to Van Wilder and shit. Yeah. But I do like Vince Vaughn, and he's going to wreck shit in this upcoming episode. Yeah, we're going to get killed. I'm going to go fuck my partner. Oh, the scene between Rachel McAdams and Colin Farrell towards the end, right before they start fucking, I thought was really good. It was very poignant because it was two people who know that they're dead.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, we've totally, to the point, accepted death that we're literally ghosts sitting here talking to each other. And I just love certain parts where he's like, do you miss it? And she's like, what? And he's like, anything?
Yeah.
Like, they're talking to each other. They know they are fucking dead. And I just love that.
Yep.
It was close to the Fred Ward.
That was a great scene, which made the final scene all the more puzzling.
Fucking bullshit.
That scene didn't build to sex.
It would have made more sense, just as much sense, and it would have at least been braver if it would have been him and Taylor Kitsch butt fucking. Can you imagine? I would have been like, okay, all right, fair enough. Because she is just as much of that dynamic, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, can you imagine if we would have gotten a fucking 5-minute steamy fucking love scene of just them two fucking mustache rides and shit, and it was Rachel McAdams getting shot? This show would be fucking amazing.
Nobody would have saw that coming.
Especially Colin Farrell. I am looking forward to the last episode. I did think this was good. I thought it was a good continuation of the last episode. The last episode still is the best, but this one was damn good.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff in this I really liked, and there's momentum.
Yeah.
The story is going forward. It's going someplace, and we'll find out how it all wraps up next week. There's a 90-minute episode, which we will review.
Really?
Yeah, next week's a 90-minute finale. And so we're going to review that, and then we are also going to hit you with a video recapping and giving our thoughts on the entire season 2.
Sounds like a good idea to me. That's the first time I'm hearing about it, but good idea, Nate.
Yeah. Hit us with your feedback. Find us on Twitter at FrightFlix,
Yes.
And you can also find us on Facebook under the same handle.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you next week for more True Detective. Jump over to our next video and watch our trailer reaction to Deadpool, and the latest review of Scream, the TV series. This is The Horror. I'm Nate.
And I'm Mike. See you later, guys.